A new contest for the heavens has begun. More than half a century after Apollo, the United States and China are locked in a race to return astronauts to the moon. This isn't a simple repeat of the Cold War space race. The ambitions are much greater. The winner will shape the next era of human exploration and settlement beyond Earth. National pride, technological dominance, and strategic advantage are all at stake. The US, once the undisputed leader in space, now faces a formidable challenger. China's space program is well-funded, focused, and has achieved rapid success. This is a test of two very different systems: America's government-private partnerships versus China's state-driven machine. In Washington, there's growing concern that China could get there first, shifting global power. NASA and partners like SpaceX are racing to overcome technical and political hurdles. The goal, not just to arrive first, but to establish a lasting presence for future missions to Mars and beyond. This is a marathon, not a sprint. The technologies and discoveries from this race could transform life on Earth and our understanding of the solar system. The world is watching. Will the eagle or the dragon lead humanity's next giant leap? The US effort to return to the moon is called Artemis, aiming to land the first woman on the lunar surface. Artemis III targets a 2027 landing, a bold, challenging timeline. NASA leads but relies heavily on private companies, especially SpaceX, for key mission components. The plan launch astronauts on the SLS rocket and Orion capsule, then transfer to a SpaceX Starship for the lunar landing. This partnership blends government oversight with commercial innovation. NASA's acting administrator insists the 2027 date is vital to beat China. A recent milestone: SpaceX's Starship completed its first fully successful test flight, proving the basic vehicle is viable. Still, the 2027 target is a huge challenge. Artemis has faced delays and cost overruns. SLS is expensive and rarely flown. Orion's Artemis II mission, a crewed lunar flyby, has also slipped. Starship, while promising, faces more tough tests ahead. The path to a 2027 landing is steep, with little room for error. America's chance to lead depends on overcoming these hurdles, fast. China's official target for a crewed lunar landing is 2030, but its steady progress could close the gap sooner. Unlike the US, China's space program is highly centralized, with clear goals and unified direction. Recent years have seen flawless robotic lunar missions, including landings on both sides of the moon and successful sample returns. Each mission builds experience and reduces risk for future crewed landings. China's new generation crewed spacecraft and the Lunar lunar lander are advancing rapidly. The Long March 10 rocket, purpose-built for the moon, recently demonstrated its power in a major test. China's ambitions go beyond a single landing. It aims to build a permanent international lunar research station at the South Pole, rich in water ice. Russia is already on board and China is recruiting more partners. This is not just a race for a flag. China is playing the long game. Its vision, a lasting outpost that could become a hub for science and exploration. Artemis faces major obstacles on the road back to the moon. The 2027 timeline is met with skepticism, given a history of delays and technical issues. Artemis II, the crewed lunar flyby, has already slipped. Further delays could doom the 2027 goal. NASA's reliance on the costly, rarely flown SLS rocket and Orion capsule limits mission frequency and sustainability. Critics argue this flags and footprints approach isn't suited for building a permanent lunar base. The partnership with SpaceX is promising, but Starship must prove new technologies, especially orbital refueling, before it can safely land astronauts. Political uncertainty in the US adds risk. Shifting priorities and budgets threaten long-term planning. Unlike the Apollo era, consistent support for Artemis isn't guaranteed. Many analysts now believe China could land astronauts first. The US has the industrial power but must overcome internal challenges to win. The race is as much about execution and discipline as technology. Time is running out for NASA to regain its lead. China's greatest strength is its centralized, state-driven approach. The government aligns resources and talent toward a single goal, immune to short-term political cycles. CNSA's track record, a decade of complex missions executed with precision, from Chang'e 3 to the Farside landing and sample returns. Each success builds confidence and reduces risk for crewed missions. China's hardware is purpose-built and integrated. Long March 10, the new crew capsule, and Lunar lander are designed to work seamlessly together. This avoids the integration headaches that often slow Western projects. China's lunar strategy is also diplomatic. The International Lunar Research Station invites partners like Russia and others outside the US-led Artemis Accords. This creates a new bloc aligned with China's vision for space. Disciplined execution, integrated design, and strategic diplomacy make China a formidable competitor. The real competition isn't about who lands first, it's about who stays. A short visit like Apollo is symbolic but offers little lasting value. The true prize, a sustainable, long-term human presence on the moon. This requires new technologies for living off Earth, especially using local resources, like harvesting water ice for air and rocket fuel. A base that produces its own fuel could revolutionize space travel. The US's reliance on the expensive SLS rocket is criticized as unsustainable for building a permanent base. Fully reusable vehicles like SpaceX's Starship are better suited for frequent, affordable flights. The US must accelerate next-generation capabilities to compete. The winner will be decided by execution, discipline, and a coherent long-term strategy. China's plan for a research station at the South Pole signals intent to stay. The moon race is the first leg of a marathon to extend human civilization into the solar system. The US-China lunar race is playing out on a global stage, with other nations expanding their space ambitions. The outcome will shape alliances and influence emerging space powers. Europe is pushing for space autonomy, developing its own launch capabilities and upgrading the Esrange Space Center. Europe's independence makes it a key bloc for both the US and China to court. India, after landing near the moon's south pole in 2023, is now a major space player. Its allegiance is not guaranteed. Space exploration is now multipolar and more competitive than ever. The stakes are rising. Space is becoming militarized, with new US military launches and plans for orbital missile defense. A Chinese lunar landing before the US could signal waning American power with global consequences. As analyst Dean Chung warns, it could mark the end of American exceptionalism. The new space race is about much more than the moon. It's about the future of global leadership.